All right, we're here with Justin Horwitz. Justin, thanks for coming.
Absolutely, Mark. Thanks for having me.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, and a little bit about why you're at MBIT today.
Yeah, who I am. So I'm Justin Horwitz. I'm a happy father of two. I live in the New York, PA area. I've taken a lot of different career steps. So what I do is I work for a company called Find Your Grind, and we're helping kids figure out their passions. So often we ask kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? Which is a really hard question. We're really changing that conversation from what do you want to be to who do you want to be in that life you want to live. I know for me, that would have helped me a lot. I started my career and I went to college. I thought that's what I had to do. So I went to college. After my first year, dropped out. Spent some time to find myself and eventually went back to school. But I was missing that self-discovery piece and thought that was the only pathway. And so it's really fitting being here with you today and seeing so many different pathways available and what you guys are doing for kids.
So Find Your Grind, it helps pair students or help students to identify their passion. Can you talk more about what that looks like in practice? What is the Find Your Grind platform? If people are interested.
So we start with this thing. I think you guys actually hit the words in the head earlier. We talked about a lifestyle first approach. And that's exactly what we do. We really help kids understand who they are first, their strengths, their values, the ability to articulate that. Once they can do that, then through our Find Your Grind curriculum, which is designed for 6th through 12th graders, we really help kids explore now careers that could be really good fits to that lifestyle while they're learning about themselves, but also building all those important skills, things like networking, collaboration, leadership, building a brand, and really helping kids figure out those next steps to a healthy life.
So it was interesting. We got talking about the lifestyle decision early on our tour around the school, because I was pointing out to you that in our from our perspective, it seems like this generation is interested in what their life is going to look like after school. They're less focused on what's my career going to be or what's my path going to be, but what is my life actually going to look like? And actually one of our employees here was sharing that she teaches night classes and she asked the student, so what do you want to do with your life? And the student said, that's a horrible question. It's not what I want to do with the rest of my life. It's what I want to do next.
Yeah.
And what was interesting was at our most recent career fair, so for the construction pathways with our local home builders association, we had plenty of vendors here, over 30 vendors, and brought all of our students from all of our construction career pathways down. And one of the vendors, the first time I've seen this now, instead of telling the students more about their company, instead of telling them the story of the company, instead of telling them how much money they're going to make, which is part of it, they actually focus their entire display on what their life is going to look like, how many days off they're going to get, where they get all expenses paid training to go to. And so it connected because you said that's really interesting because we take a lifestyle first approach here. So can you talk about what a lifestyle first approach looks like in the work that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. It starts, first of all, matching up to who I am. So for me, I am a connector, a leader, an entrepreneur. Knowing those things, being able to articulate those things about myself, I can really see where I position the world, right? And so what we do is help kids dig even further that lifestyle first. How do I communicate? What environments do I thrive in? Once I know those things about myself, it really helps me match what good fits are for careers and different pathways. But to your point, what we really think about in Find Your Grind is you need to know yourself because you're gonna make lots of turns along the way. When I started, I thought you had that one career forever. We know kids have lots of journeys along the way. It's not the one destination. So we really help kids to be able to do is have the skills to navigate that no matter where they go. We see people starting in one industry and changing others, but how do you navigate that? But if you have a grounded center to who you are, and you can self-reflect and have the tools to do that, you can find those next best steps for yourself. And so it's really about finding your passions, the impact you want to make on the world. And once you know those things, you can have so much more fulfillment in the careers you have. That jumping those careers and finding new interests almost becomes a hobby on its own.
And we saw in your platform, there's also opportunities for students to connect with current live active employers, right? Even regionally, where students can see what that work looks like.
Yeah.
And then they can actually learn from the people working there what that work feels like as well. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, and I think it's exposure, right? And it's like even being here with you guys today, me being exposed to all the things you're doing is so eye-opening, the great programs you guys have. So many kids don't have an idea of even what's out there for them. So we've created this talent pipeline now where students, once they know what they're interested in and they're matched to those lifestyles, they start to see the careers that fit those, local employers can actually put their content in our program now. So students get to learn about what that career looks like, what it's like the culture in that job, how to get started, next steps to take. They can raise their hand and say, I'm interested. So as we think about career fairs, work-based learning, we can now match students to those local employers right there in their backyard, where it's not so much a guess, it's almost like the matches start already made because they have some background on them.
We've found too, we've made a lot of efforts towards our social media here at the school. And it's not so much, it's a great platform for us to brag about the great things our kids are doing. And we love doing that because the phone now is the refrigerator of my parents' house in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
So not only do we love to brag about the great things that our students are doing on social media, but it also is an awareness factor, right? So people, when they know you, they're more comfortable. And so we try to put our story out there so that people know us. They are more comfortable coming here or learning about us because they've seen behind the walls. And it seems like that's a little bit of the perspective too on some of these employers that you're featuring.
Absolutely, right? When I can see the excitement about this, we were just talking about this, in our backyard right here. There's a company that actually makes stages that go all over for concerts all over the world. Kids can actually help and make those things, but never knew right in their backyard there's an opportunity to do something like that. That exposure piece is just so big.
Well, when we talk about here, we have 21 programs, and the line I use, and my staff will tell you overuse, but that's a different conversation. But the line I use is that we have 21 programs for 21,000 jobs. And I think that's a really good example. So stage building is not one of our pathways here, but it's certainly an option when it comes to a carpentry pathway, maybe even an electrical pathway, maybe a welding pathway.
That's what I was thinking.
Right? There's so many different people that feed into that industry, and that is a very bustling industry, very needed, and they need skilled workers. And so I think that's what I'm saying when I say 21 programs for 21,000 jobs, because the old mindset of career and technical education was you have 21 programs. That means there are 21 different job opportunities. If you go into welding, you're going to be a welder, whereas you could be any number of things. You could be in structural engineering. You could be in sales. You could be in welding sales. You could be in construction sales. You could be, in all sorts of different industries that come from building those technical skills. And then the other piece that I think connected with me with the work you're doing is the employability. So I think you got to see firsthand here some of the employability skills that we try to build here. You can talk about that. But if you also want to talk about what employability looks like on your platform.
Yeah, I'd just like to first of all just say, just a shout out to you guys here. It was super impressive. First of all, the ability to access and talk to students. But you can see that. Every student I met here, they're shaking my hand. They're giving me their name. They're looking me in the eye. They're very personal. They were very professional in everything they did. You're clearly building those skills here, which I think are really cool. And that's what the work we support, right? What does it look like to be professional? So a lot of kids today shake the hand, look someone in the eye, those really important pieces. Critical thinking, we looked at one activity today, I think, just on how we help kids support that piece. We help them understand failure is okay, but then how do I come back and be resilient against that? So those really important skills, which we know your students are going to have no matter what when they go out in the world.
Yeah. And I'm just curious now that you got to see our building, if you have any reflections on what you saw or the things happening behind these walls.
The more and more I do this work, the more and more impressed I am. We go so much that mindset of you have to go to college, right? I just made a post the other day where I said, I'm really questioning if that's the right fit for my kids. And when you start to see things like what you're doing here, it becomes a lot more comfortable to say, yes, these really good opportunities here. And you see what kind of education's happening. I think some of the things that really stuck out to me spending time with you guys today was there's a lot of academics that are also happening beyond just the technical skills. And we were in a dental hygienist room, and that book, my gosh, how thick was that thing? And as we opened up some pages and looked at it, it was very in-depth reading, academics, comprehension necessary in order to do what they're doing. So that academics piece sticking out was really unique to me. I think also just the variety of what you have and the depth of resources you have was super impressive. And then finally, your educators. I mean, gosh, if they don't know these students so well, everyone here seems so happy. They seem very driven with a very clear next steps, why they're doing what they are. They've hit their passions, and you can feel that energy with everything you guys are doing here. So I walk away super invigorated. I wish you were in my backyard. I would love to have my kids come here and actually sit down and actually do a little tour and shadowing, because I think there's some really unique pathways that my kids would probably really resonate with here.
We weren't very long into the tour before you said, I think I want to come here.
The second we walked into the automotive room, I'm rebuilding a motorcycle right now. I have no idea what I'm doing and figuring it out. If I had those skills, which I think is another thing that really stuck out that you said to me, this is not an or, it's an and. Because if we could all walk away with a lot of these skills, regardless of where we go, to fix things ourselves, to be able to make those own connections. The one you like to say, when my check engine light goes on, I've got to go to someone else. What if I knew that? What if something goes wrong at my house and I can fix those things? These are amazing skills, whether I use them in a career or have these skills along with something else. So that really stuck out to me a lot.
Yeah, we're really proud of the work we're doing. And something that we talked about too is it's interesting because I think education generally, education sort of writ large, is experiencing a change. And a lot of the work that we're doing here is some of the work that K-12 education aspires to do. Problem-based learning. That check engine light's a great example. I use it all the time. When that light goes on, you don't know what the problem is and you don't know what the solution is, but you have to figure out the path to get to the solution, right? Project-based learning. I mean, everything we do is project-based here. I don't love the term hands-on, but I do love the term learning by doing. We all learn by doing. That's why the number 2 search engine in the world is YouTube, because we go there to fix problems, right? And so, besides that, right, those relationships with students, those educators as content area experts, there's a lot of nice things happening here. And then, of course, too, we're based on students completing tasks here with what K-12 education are do with standards-based grading, right? So we have the students do the tasks, and they have to show repeatable accuracy in those tasks before they get that checked off. And in one of the classes you saw, harken back to your Ohio days, you saw the hard hat stickers, right? So when a student completes that task and they can do it with repeatable accuracy, they're getting that hard hat sticker. And that way the student both has internal pride about earning it and outward pride of showing off, like, I have skills to my peers.
And it creates a competition. I want to get mine now. It accelerates that entire piece. So there's a lot of that just going here. And I think what really sticks out to me a lot is the authentic piece, the authentic learning.
Very much
that
so.
Hands-on piece. I think people learn a lot of different ways. I think to be in a desk or in a chair for 4 or 5 hours a day, switching from class to class, it can be challenging for kids. So I just love the fact that kids are here, they're up, they're doing things. You can just see how much more engaged they are into the work they're doing. It almost feels very personalized for every student. Because the instructors are working them on their specific needs. So I love that piece.
And incredibly safe too, which is my favorite part, because these are students that are doing, we talked about the difference between learning about the thing and doing the thing. And they're here doing the thing, and they're doing it safely under the supervision of that content area. Well, Justin, thank you so much. It's been great to talk. Can you tell folks, if they're interested to find out more about Find Your Grind, where can they get more information?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So findyourgrind.com, see everything you need right there, explore our content. If you see anything there you like, we'd love to connect with you. Yeah, and we're looking forward to creating some leadership opportunities for our students so that they can continue to grow in their pathways. So thank you for your time. Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you. Ambitious is a student-produced project of Middle Bucks Institute of Technology. To find out more about MBIT, visit us at www.mbit.org.